Hello friends, welcome to ASP.NET tutorial. In this video, we will look into binary composite controls. In the past subseries, actually in the past two subseries, we created custom render control, which emits HTML via the render content method. So in the last subseries, we created the user control, and before that, we created a composite control, and we looked into the render content override. Recall that we used HTML text writer to form HTML tag that suits the browser's nature, right? So the composite control, we've overridden the render content, and inside the render content, usually the render content takes a HTML text writer as an object, and we used that parameter object, and we formed the HTML content at runtime to push the controls content to the browser. Custom render controls are special purpose controls. We create it when existing standard controls do not meet the requirement. One can go for composite control when two or more standard control together achieves a task, right? So in that case, we will go for a composite control. So we will mix the ASP.NET controls together to form the composite control. And when we are mixing, we know that it will perform a common task, and it can be reused in multiple other web pages. For example, a login box, you can see that as a composite control, right? A login box, which contains two labels, two input fields, and a button, right? So this login box can be seen as a composite control, and it achieves a task of taking the user input and validating it. Unlike user control, so in the last video we talked about user control, and before that we talked about the composite control, right? So unlike these, in the last video we talked about user control, right? We saw that user control sits in a web project, and wherever we want, we will simply drag and drop that to a web form and use it. So unlike user control, a binary composite control sits on its own assembly, and it can be used in any project. So in the last video, when we discussed, in the last subseries, when we discussed about the user control, we stated that we need to copy the ASCX file into the web project. If it is a new web project, we need to copy the ASCX and the underlying code behind file, right? After that, you can do the drag and drop. But here in binary composite control, since it sits on its own assembly, you can simply refer this control and use it in any ASP.NET web project. That's all about the binary composite control, and we will go to the demo in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.